Database developers create forms in databases for users to interact with a form rather than interact directly with the table. The form is more user-friendly, and it also enables us to make sure that they don't accidentally change the wrong record by using a form to control the user and the record that they're working on. Let's close this table, for example, and what I'd like to do is to create some forms. To create a form, there is a couple of ways to do this. First of all, I'm going to go to the Create tab in the ribbon, and here's the Forms section here. What I want to do is I want to create a form for the Employees table, so I might just sit on the Employees table in my navigation pane. And I just want to use the Form tool, which is this particular button called Form. If I click this button, you immediately get a form based on the table you were sitting on. And I'll just maximize it. So basically you get an instant form based on the table you were sitting on, and I can see all the 9 records in that table, and I could use this form to interact with. I might turn around and save this form just by clicking the Save button on my Quick Access toolbar, and I'll save it as FRM Employee. And OK. In my navigation pane in the Forms section, I now have a form FRM Employee, and I can close this form. If I ever want to work with this form in the Forms section, I'll just double click FRM Employee, and there's my Employees form. If I wanted to create another form, but this time for customers, in my navigation pane I'd sit on the table Customers, I'd go to the Create tab in my ribbon, and I'd click the Form tool. And immediately I have a form created for customers. If I wish to save this, I can hit the Save button on my Quick Access toolbar, and I can name this FRM Customer. And OK. And now in my Forms section, in my navigation pane, I have 2 forms, one for working with employee data and one for working with customer data. Besides using the Form tool, you also have the Form Wizard. So what I'd like to do this time is go to the Create tab in my ribbon and choose the Form Wizard. This time it doesn't matter what table I'm sitting on, because the wizard's going to ask me what table or query do I want to base this form on. So here I am here. I've got the table Customers selected, but I'd actually like to create a form for products. So I'm going to hit the drop down and choose the table Products. Now I get to decide which fields I'd like to show on this form, because I don't necessarily want them to see all the fields. I'll choose Product ID by hitting the greater than sign. I'll choose Product Name, Unit Price, and Discontinued. And these are the fields that I want the user of this form to work with. So I'll just choose Next. Here I get to choose a layout. Columnar basically puts each field one under each other. Product Name under that Product ID under that Product Name under that Unit Price under that Discontinued. Whereas Tabular tends to put them side by side. So it would be Product ID to the right of that, Product Name to the right of that, Unit Price, and then Discontinued. Datasheet actually looks like a table, and Justified is just ugly. So I'm going to go for Columnar and Next. Actually, I might go back and choose Tabular, because you can always go back in Tabular. Now it wants to know what is the title that you want for your form. I'm actually going to call it Product Pricing. And it's going to open the form to view and enter data. So I just hit Finish. And here's my form. So I've created a form based on the table Products that's called Product Pricing. It's just given me just those 4 fields, and brilliant, that's exactly what I wanted. If I then close this particular form, in my Forms section of my navigation pane, here's Product Pricing. If I want to rename that, I'll right click Product Pricing and I'll choose Rename. And I can rename that FRM Product Pricing. And so now when I double click this particular form, I still see the same form, I still see the title, but I've just given the object a different name. I might decide I'd like to use the Form Wizard to create another form, and this is for the shippers. So I'll go to Create and I'll choose Form Wizard, but this time I'll choose the table Shippers. I might decide I want all the fields, so I hit the 2 greater than signs to select all the fields in one hit and choose Next. At this point I can choose a layout, and just to be different from the last one, I'll choose Columnar and Next. At this point it's wanting a title, so I'm just going to leave it with the title Shippers and click Finish. And here is my form. What I'm seeing is Columnar, which is one under each other, and I have to use the navigation buttons at the bottom to move to each record, which is slightly different from the earlier form where we chose tabular and you could see all the records at once. If I close this particular form, I'll see that I have a Shippers form in my Forms section of the navigation pane. I can right click that and rename that FRM Shippers. And I've created two forms using the Form Wizard.